So right now I'm at the Iron Horse Trail, where earlier today Mayor Frank Ferry, members of the Santa Clarita City Council, dignitaries, and representatives from Newhall Land dedicated the trailhead. The Iron Horse Trail project was part of the entitlement approval for the North Valencia 1 annexation approved by the city in 1998. The amenities were constructed by Newhall Land and include a trail rest area with shade structure, water bubbler for horses, and bike racks. Additionally, an equestrian staging area, landscaping, and lodgepole fencing were added to the site. The new Iron Horse Trailhead will allow hiking, biking, and equestrian use to cross the old 1898 trestle bridge at the start of a 4-mile trail which connects to the South Fork Trail. At the dedication, I caught up with City Council member Lorraine West, who talked about the historical significance of the project.
Monumental day. We have dedicated the Iron Horse Trailhead and the bridge, our historical railroad bridge from 1898. This is the gateway of Santa Clarita, an opportunity to now move our trail system of 60 miles onto the sea, up into 19,000 acres of open space. If you go back, the original bridge was taken out by the great San Francisco Dam disaster, and the railroad had to bring in a new bridge. So they took a section of a bridge that went across the Colorado River, this bridge, brought it here so they could immediately get up and running. There was 20-30 feet of fill washed into the middle of our valley. The disaster went all the way to the ocean. So that was the first trauma. And then, later when the railroad stopped doing passenger service, they didn't need this anymore. They were going to remove the bridge. The railroad was going to remove the bridge. And we fought off that, and it didn't happen. And then there was issues of, it was in disrepair, and we had to deal with that. And then finally, when it was going to be part of the trail, it had to be recoded to make it safe publicly and rebuilt for today's use. But it fits our trail application. It has been many, many battles to save the bridge and make this part of our trail network over the last 20 years. And I have to say, over the last 10, we finally made great strides. The community is awake and aware of these resources. They want them, they value them, and we're saving them. And so it's just an amazing resource for us.
The centerpiece of the trailhead is a custom art project created by Idel Tisber and Diane Fotorero. The art piece highlights historical milestones in the history of the Santa Clarita Valley. So right now I'm standing with the two artists that created the piece of art behind us, Idel Tisber and Diane Fotorero. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us about the piece behind us?
It's a Santa Clarita historical piece, and we did quite a bit of research studying the past events, what we thought might be the most significant aspects of Santa Clarita history that we could incorporate into the sculpture. And the vertical rails are reminiscent of railroad rails because the railroad is such an important part of our history, as well as each of the 7 arms are specific aspects of it. The crisscrossing structure at the top is a reflection of the way the train trestle is made, and it also reflects the way they made the shade structure. So when you look around the site, it has a nice homogeneous feel. It feels really good.
And Diane, can you talk about some of the process of putting this together? How long did it take? And just talk a little bit about that process.
Well, we actually began, about 14 months ago, discussing with Newhall Land, and Lorraine West was involved in the discussions, and we talked about what was important to this site. And as artists, we very much wanted it to be something that would not just stand out, but also blend in. So the general steel that we've used is something that, as you can see, is already beginning to rust, and it will continue to rust until it forms its own crust. We think that rust just adds to the beauty of the location. So we worked and designed and redesigned and had lots of input from Newhall Land. And as we studied more about the history, we really very much wanted to depict in a simple way each of these historical landmarks. Really not landmarks, but events in our history. And so our designs were computerized, and then they went to a water jet cutter. And all of that work, all those cutouts are actually done by water, which is quite amazing to watch. And then a fabricator put it together, and we watched it be placed by crane onto its site. So it was quite a process over the last 14 months, and one that we really learned a lot from and enjoyed every step of.
So that's it for the Iron Horse Trailhead dedication. This property is located off of Magic Mountain Parkway right next to the I-5. For more information, go to santa-clarita.com.